And we are live, to quote Kurt Valenti, the one who's normally holding the spot down. But once again, it is the No BS show, the No BS show with BNS. I can't believe I just messed that up. How is everyone doing tonight? Another Wednesday. Back, the three of us, we were not on last Wednesday, but because y'all were on Tuesday last week, I want to say thank y'all for holding down the fort. I did pop my not so little noggin in on that show for a little bit just to say hi. And then, of course, when I had the opportunity to jump in on the Go conversation, I had to do so. But you guys were fantastic. I went back and rewatched the show later. Shout out Shane for jumping on. Apparently, he jumps on any show he can on this network as long as I'm not on it. So,
well, the thing is, he asked me. He asked me like, "Hey, can I?" Because I was doing wiffle ball with him. He drove me home, and then he was like, "Hey, can I hop on?" I was like, "Yeah." So that's
very
what
nice. No, Shane, if you ever watch this, I'm only giving you junk, but no, seriously, y'all were fantastic, and I really got a great experience going back and kind of rewatching in pockets when the opportunity presented itself. So thanks again, y'all. But good to be back. Thursday, I'm sorry, wow, Wednesday night. This is the way it should be, and glad to have it all us back together tonight. Brandon, you're down in Florida. How is it down there?
Too damn hot.
happened.
It's
Yes.
today wasn't so bad. We went to the beach, but we were only there for maybe like an hour and a half, hour 45 tops. And we went out to eat after that, so everything was good. As you can see, I've got my like Floridian type shirt on, collar shirt. Um, but no, it was good. Um, we got a couple more days down here, so we got tomorrow and we got Friday, and then we're out of here probably early on Saturday. So we're gonna drive back, so that should be fun.
Oh,
Um,
I was gonna
Long
say
ass
you said
drive.
you said you were gonna leave on Saturday, and I was like, I thought you said you weren't gonna get back until Sunday, but that okay, that explains why.
yeah, it's gonna take a while. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Mr. Wilty is in the house. He jumped on, said aloha boys, aloha, Mr. Wilty, and of course, y'all know where to find it. HawaiiCoffeeCompany.com/C/coffee. Coffee code. Whoops, I meant to say coupon code. Patrick 10. Okay, but coffee.
You're losing it today because of last week.
No, but coffee code works just as well. But Patrick 10, all the sweet deals over on that site. And of course, highly recommending the ones that I tried most recently, which were the chocolate macadamia. And my favorite so far has been the dark roast that I had. And again, I think I said this a couple times before, but if you're somebody like me who doesn't drink straight up black coffee, this you might be able to.
It's
This
a
stuff
pretty great black coffee.
it
I
was.
had some during the Argentina game. I was like, this is great. It's just so
No,
good.
that stuff was really good. And we're gonna be getting more soon. I'm anxious to try it out. And thank you again, Mr. Wiltsey, for that.
Yeah, Patrick, I
Um,
still have so much left. Also, Patrick,
yeah,
let
I
me know.
can't relate. I've been tearing through that stuff.
Patrick, give me your open championship prediction because I don't know who to take. I didn't like Rory this last month, so let me know what you have in there.
Or are we doing another fantasy or no?
I don't think so. The only one that's really good is the Masters. The rest of them are kind of a mess.
Dang it!
And yeah, the rest
Not
of them are kind of bad.
not in any way biased because I crushed it last time, but
I cannot
um,
believe that. Yes.
but yeah, my father was like my father's the biggest golfing fan of anybody that I know, and I sent it to him, and he's like, "How did you do better than anybody that was in ours? And you watched the least amount of golf of anybody that I've ever met." um, but
Unbelievable.
I mean, hey, it's similar with video games. Shell is the one I'm randomly good at, and it's the sport I watch the fourth most. So
I
um,
hate that game. So
okay.
upset with that game this year.
Uh,
So bad.
Rob, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Have you liked any sports video game in the last 5 years?
Trying to think.
CFB
Which
25 was good,
no,
but
CFB 25 is probably my favorite of the last 5 years. And that had its issues, but I liked it a lot. NBA 2K14 Next Gen was pretty fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
that wasn't the last 5 years, I don't think. But yeah, I see what you
Yeah,
mean.
I that was pretty fun. I know NBA 2K16 was pretty fun.
Was that the one with was that the
It
one with
was
Vic Van Leer?
Yeah.
was that yeah, 16 was really fun because I remember the park was really good that year. But it's
It
not
was
just me. It's not just me, Scoop. People are
I
tired
know
of
no,
sports
I know
games.
it's not I know it's not just you. It's just like I don't know, it's just so funny the level of passion that you have for this. But
I have a level of passion for it because I want to play sports games, but I have no interest anymore. I'm so
real,
done. I can't
real,
do it.
real quick before we get back to like regularly scheduled programming, which 2K version was it where you could put LeBron on the Knicks?
Oh, that was 14. That was 14 old gen when they did the LeBron greatness mode.
Yeah.
That was an extremely fun mode. It took me such a long time to beat because all the games are stationed on Hall of Fame difficulty. So it was extremely difficult. Um, but that was I missed that a lot because I remember 11 and 12 had some pretty good kind of old. I mean, now with my eras,
And
it's
of
pretty
course, it's
great.
one. You said 11 and 12, and of course, once again, it's the ones right before the first one that I bought.
Yeah, which is amazing to me. And it's so funny because speaking of video games, like the world, like I remember, World Cup 2010 was such a good game. I thought 2014 was so good. Um 2006, I know that's where a lot of people got started with FIFA, was Germany 2006. So it sucks that I don't know how many of you have tried the Netflix game, the World Cup Netflix game. It is the most casual game ever, and it's
You
not
sent you
that
sent
fun.
me the video on it, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, like
Like,
you play with your phone like sideways like this, and it's so annoying. Oh, okay, so Scheffler and Fitzpatrick. True, true. Number one world ranking battle is going to be sick. And hello to everyone else who's joining us. Yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm gonna do some type of EA Sports article at some point in the summer, before the season starts. I might wait till Madden 27 comes out because I think it's coming out fairly soon, or I might not just because I know what I'm gonna have, in Madden 27. But I don't know. Especially with the microtransaction stuff this past week, which we talked about. There's still a long way to go, I think, before sports games get to a point where we're going to be happy with them, because we're just not. All right, World Cup stuff. It's a continuing conversation, isn't it, boys? Of the constant. Oh yeah, we're gonna score a goal and we're just gonna play defense. And we talked about it a lot with Arsenal running through their Champions League and Premier League run, and then you see it with England. My biggest thing watching this was like I kind of understood it because it's like, okay, it's Argentina, like you don't want to put them in counterattacking situations, but the writing was on the wall for at least 120 minutes by that point, and then obviously they got the second goal. It clearly just doesn't work, Brandon, and we're seeing, especially from the South American countries, Argentina especially, that, and they've done, and every team has done this style of football at some point during the tournament, but you're seeing our frustrations with the European game on full display throughout this tournament. I think that's kind of like the biggest thing I'm taking away from this World Cup. It's like, wow, this is not good football, just
yeah,
constant defending. And I think you could say what you want about the VAR stuff, and that's obviously there and it exists. But just from the core footballing perspective, I guess minus Spain, who's still here, because of their speed and their youth and things of that nature, which I know is pretty simplistic, but we are casuals covering this World Cup. But in terms of, hey, this is what's wrong with European football today, England gave you that example the last 25 minutes of this contest.
I mean, we said at the start of the tournament that England, we didn't like what they were defensively. We didn't like their back line at all defensively. And we said that, that it eventually along the way at some point it was going to hurt them. And today, I didn't watch much of the game, but I was following it on my phone because obviously I was out. But I was like, okay, they're up 1-0. But I'm like, if you're going to beat a team like Argentina, and we've said this for the last basically 3 matches that Argentina's played, you need to put up probably not even 2 goals against them. You need to score at least 3-4 goals against them, and then play lockdown defense. Otherwise, you're not going to win.
And
So,
you can't just score 1 goal and then play lockdown with all 11
no.
men back and expect it to work.
Yeah, no,
For
no
90
way.
minutes.
And the thing is,
Not gonna work.
Argentina's too skilled, even besides Messi. Argentina's too skilled to, just let the play kind of run through him. I mean, they do that anyway, but they have a lot of talented guys that can score from really any point on the field. That even like if you're we said this too. Like Argentina has been playing with fire every single match they've played, especially in the knockout stage. Every match they've played with fire. But it's not so much Argentina being good in this tournament to me. It's the teams they're playing against not knowing how to finish games defensively. And that's exactly what's happening every knockout. At every knockout stage game, every match they've played, the teams they're going against have a lead late in the last 15 or so minutes, and that team just completely falls apart trying to hang on for dear life against Argentina. You can't play that way. This is
the point that I feel is important here and how I look at it. I'm like, this is why we're upset with the Premier League. This is what our issues were. This is what our issues were with Arsenal. Yeah, they won the Premier League doing it.
But it was ugly. It was ugly.
But it was ugly. And then you're seeing every European team say, can we do the same thing on an international stage? No, because South America doesn't play that way.
Yeah.
It's the biggest reason Argentina's here.
It's like the only European team that can beat you basically just defensively and with counterattacking is Spain. Spain's the only team that can do it.
I think Spain doesn't do that all 90 minutes. They don't have a willingness to. And when you have a young player like Lamine Yamal, I don't want him back there the entire game.
No.
I want to counter. I want to push up the pitch. I want to play stable football. And that's also what excites me about this final is Lamine is so fast compared to Argentina that is much older.
You know what it is, though? Group. I think that the way Spain played France, that is exactly because nobody saw them beating France, that badly. But that's how Spain's going to have to play again against. If they play that same way against Argentina, Spain's going to win that game. That's
what bothered me with Spain-France more than anything was not how Spain played. I don't think I learned anything about how Spain played.
Yeah,
I was more frustrated with France. And look, England, Argentina, the history's there. We were going to have a very sloppy physical game, which we did. And we did in both games, but England, Argentina was incredibly sloppy, especially the first 50 so odd minutes. I was more upset with like France. Guys, these guys are young and skilled. You can't out physical them for 90 minutes and expect to win. Mm-hmm. And that is not how France played in any other game the entire tournament.
Yeah.
Complete philosophy switch for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. It was bizarre. Watching that game was so bizarre yesterday because we were here watching it, and I looked at it and I'm like, it feels like every 2 seconds I'm like, what the hell is France doing out there? Do they like? It was almost like they even both on both sides of the pitch. Really, when they would push offensively or when they would drop back defensively, nobody had an idea of who they were supposed to mark. Nobody had an idea of really where the ball kind of was relative to their positioning on the field. It was almost like they just had no semblance of a game plan against Spain whatsoever. They just, like you said, they just threw everything out the window and just said, you know what, screw it, we're just going to wing it, basically.
We're just going to play physical. And, like, playing physical does work, but Spain is so young and so fast.
Yeah.
And they could have played fast with them for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
They could have played fast with them for 120 minutes if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And they just decided not to. And I was stunned by their game plan. And Spain, other than the Cape Verde game, I mean, top marks, honestly.
Yeah.
Throughout the tournament. There's no... I'll look through their games here
You
again.
would. I think the only knock on Spain, if you want a little more of an attack than what they've had, but that's about it. I mean, they're still winning the games regardless. They're still getting lights out defense and goaltending. And so
the
it's like
goaltending's been incredible. Yeah.
so like when it comes to Spain, I mean, they don't have to score a lot, but I feel like against Argentina, they can't win this game like 2-1, 2-0, whatever it is. They have to win this game like 4-3, 3-2. You need to push offensively when you have the chance to, because if you give Argentina a chance, because every team that's gotten a lead against Argentina so far, when they've parked the bus immediately after, and then Argentina dominates the pace of play for the next half hour of the game until they get a goal.
Spain is one of the only teams that I think can counterattack effectively against Argentina. Though.
And they're going to have to.
They're going to have to, because I think it could really. That first goal is going to determine a lot, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to change how both teams decide to attack. But I think if I'm Lamine Yamal and I'm looking at, or Spain's coaching staff, and I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, let's try to control possession and continue to control possession as much as possible, but not play relying on our back line, rely on our midfield to push up the pitch, and do that for a full 90 minutes. Because, I think both teams are taking a counterattacking risk. So then just take the counterattacking risk.
Yeah.
And no team in this tournament has really done that as well as either of us would have liked.
I mean, it's just the level of play in this tournament, just all around, has been. You've had some, like darlings, like Cape Verde and all of and guys like them, but it's like. At the same time, they just the style, and we've said it before. We said coming into this tournament that we were worried about how this, what kind of football we'd be getting, and it's been really from every single country at some point. It's been sloppy all the way around.
It's been sad, and again, I think it is the European nations, particularly the EPL, with this focus on this style of play that is really dry and really exhausting. I mean, and we're just seeing it across the board this whole tournament. It doesn't mean the tournament's not been fun. It's been fun, but footballing quality has been rough.
The thing is, when it comes to at least to this tournament, and I know this sounds obvious, but it's true. Physicality doesn't dominate this tournament. It's speed and aggression. Speed and aggression will dominate this tournament. So basically,
and this is why these two teams are in the final. If you want to break it down as simple as possible, speed and aggression. It doesn't have to be for 90 minutes. It could just be for the last 20 or 30. And that's been the difference. And that's why you have these two going up against each other Sunday afternoon. It's simple. Scoop, what has been your impression of this World Cup so far? Because I know you've been, slowly getting into this. So now that we're towards the end, how are you feeling as a fan, I guess, of this?
What's interesting is because I asked, I think it may have been both of y'all, but I'm pretty sure Rob's the one who answered. A couple days ago, I asked, are these the teams that you expected at the end?
You asked that in the round of you asked that in like the round of.
I asked that in the last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, it was a quarterfinal
round. And you asked us, you're like, "Is this what you expected?" We're like, no way. Switzerland? Did we expect Switzerland to do that? Did we expect Norway to do that in a way?
Yeah, out of the 8 teams left, 6 of them, yes, because those were the ones that were supposed to be there. But Switzerland and Norway, hell no. But
and Norway just used their size so well.
I had Norway making that run, so I at least could say I got that right. But
no, absolutely not. And it's big for the Swiss FA because I think you're going to see them, push forward. And Norway's FA is in a great spot, but no way. And that's part of what's been fun of the 48 team format, but also it has been it's just way too much. And we talked about this a few weeks ago. The fact that we're considering 64 for 2030, and it's looking really likely that we're going to do that. I don't even know where. Now the group stage means if we do that, then the group stage means nothing.
Yeah.
It's the most wasteful group stage possible, other than like a few matches. So I don't know.
Going back to actually answer your question, get a chance to answer your question. Just looking at the teams that in your answer to that, it was, I guess, because my thought process in asking that question was largely based in just what you mentioned. I mean, you think of casual fan, like being a casual fan. I'm the definition of that when it comes to soccer. And so knowing that, it kind of was just me thinking, okay, yeah, it's like, I mean, you and I go back to, when you put me up on FM for the first time, and it's, you're talking about, the big five, the big six in terms of nations and whatnot. So I was thinking, okay, yeah, this largely makes sense, having, these countries. I think what I'm looking forward to now, because obviously most of my interest in this thus far was seeing what US was going to do, and then they got blow rammed
Rocked.
by Belgium's, and I just combined Belgium and the Belgians there, so I didn't mean to say Belgium's, but
Yeah.
So I was not. So did my interest wane a little bit after that point? I would have to be honest and say yes. But that being said, I am still going to watch, these last couple, and see how it goes in terms of if there's anything, massive. Obviously, after the U.S. was out, I was going to be rooting for Portugal for Brandon, and then. I'm curious to see what happens now with, Messi over the last couple days. See what happens with. Okay, we got some breaking news here, because this may be the first thing I've ever agreed with Kurt on in a comment. What's up, boys? He says the best in the biz today: Messi, Bronson, Otani. I'm sorry, Messi, Brunson, Otani. I know what it says. I just can't speak. Messi, Brunson, Otani.
What's the breaking news we got?
Well, I'm just saying that I probably would agree with every word that he just said, and that's absolutely just shocking to me. But yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Messi, Brunson, and Otani. I pretty much would agree. That would be my big three right now.
Oh, I thought you said we had breaking news or something. Did I get confused?
The breaking news was that, Kurt and I finally agree on something.
Ah, that's a good breaking news. Yeah, see that's kind of, again, that's kind of been my problem with this World Cup. Is Fox was so like, the USA is going to do so good, and that was never going to succeed
Yeah.
from a promotional standpoint. It's been bothering me the whole tournament. But again, I think
I didn't expect us to get bull rushed by Belgium, though, the way that we did.
I didn't expect that either, but I knew we were going to lose. I'm still.
I think
impressed.
I was the only one that saw that coming. That
Yeah.
Belgium was going to steamroll them.
I will say though,
you thought it was going to be a close loss, Rob. Brandon thought that it was going to be a bad loss, and I remember I had us winning. But again, anytime I do a bracket for anything, it pretty much just becomes Charmin within a matter of a couple of hours. So
yeah, I think it's been interesting though to see the ratings numbers, because the ratings numbers haven't waned. I think if only they've improved. Norway had a great number, partially because of Holland being the crazy human that he is, that we love.
Cape Verde brought in a lot of people.
Cape Verde brought in a lot of numbers. The numbers have been great for Fox and Telemundo.
Didn't you say Curacao also did, or am I misspeaking?
Curacao had a rough tournament. I'm just thinking about the teams that made it far. The numbers have been great. It is funny that Fox got upset that 20% of English-speaking fans went to Telemundo. Well, I'm sorry. Then put on a better product then, because we even talked about Telemundo having a better product than you anyway. But
I did enjoy watching the Telemundo feed. I will say that.
See what I mean? Anyway, so I think it's been a good World Cup numbers wise. I'm frustrated by the idea that the MLS, like their entire promotion is, thanks world, we'll take it from here. I'm sorry, man. The MLS is a bad product. You shouldn't watch that. Like, I'm just sorry, you shouldn't. And like, I'm very interested to see Fox's 2 MLS matches on the local Fox station this week. I'm really curious how those numbers are going to be. They're probably going to be okay. I don't think it's going to matter that much. Speaking of television numbers, the Texas Rangers changed their streaming provider in the middle of the season, and they just did it this morning. And I was like, well, okay. So
Okay,
this
that is not what I would have thought you were going to say. I swore you were going to talk about the McCullers trade when you said Texas baseball.
Yeah, so the Rangers dropped Victory Plus for I think it's called Buzzer. It's a new startup streaming platform.
Two hockey teams dropped them as well.
Two hockey teams dropped
Wow.
them as well. Wow. So here's my thing with this, and thanks Awful Announcing for dropping this news, because this is why I follow Awful Announcing, and this is why everyone else should. They're great. I'm really upset by this. And I've been upset with local streamers for a long time, especially when I think Sports Business Journal dropped something this week, and we were talking about it on text, that the MLB local number is still pretty good, even with World Cup competition. It's actually been excellent. My biggest problem with local is that I feel like when it comes to marketing a product, right? We'll talk about baseball, hockey, and basketball in particular. The NFL, their product markets itself at this point. My biggest thing is with marketing, yes, social media matters. And I think TikTok put out a number this week that like their numbers, like 42% of people who like connect with a sport are watching, the sport on live TV, which is an interesting number. And I don't know where they get that statistic. I think the number of Sports Business Journal put out was like 72% are still watching their local TV for baseball, which is great, or something like that. I'll double check the number. But what I want to bring this up and talk about is this whole local mess, this wazoo across the country of watching your local team for hockey, baseball, and basketball, to me has always had a simple solution. And I cannot believe no one's talking about it. It's St. Clair and Nexstar. It's your local Fox, CBS, and NBC stations. And then maybe Scripps, because Ion, as a free ad-supported television, it's free everywhere as well. CW is also an option. It should be, when we're talking about sports, and the national networks will focus on baseball. The national deals are the national deals. I can't mess with that. That's what it is. We've talked about that over and over. And we'll talk about how bad the Netflix Summer Derby broadcast was in a second. I'm really frustrated that the solution's right in their face, and it should be up to the clubs to do this, and some have. The Nationals, all their games are on their local Fox network, for example. The solution's right in your face. The solution is putting it on free TV, free over-the-air television, or a fast network. It shouldn't be this complicated, like, oh, we're going to put on this thing, then we're going to put on something. Think about it if you're a Rangers fan right now. You wake up this morning, you're getting ready for the game on Friday, and you're like, well, I got to go through another website to do this, and I got to transfer all of this data and all this stuff. Why, bro? Just put it on I'm going to invent this right now. 3 clicks model. Pick up your TV remote, turn on your television, click on whatever app it's on. Don't have to pay for anything. Click on the game. It's right there. Boom. You have your local TV. You have your local game. Bing, bang, boom, done. Why aren't we doing that? Why are we making this so difficult? Why are we making this so hard? This local TV problem is so bad at this point. It is so bad. But the solution is right on your face. The solution is your local television networks. The solution is a fast network. It's right there. But no one seems to care because they care about the top dollars and everything. Look, national TV is where you're going to make your money ultimately anyway. And St. Clair and Nexstar have insane amounts of money. You don't think they want a piece of that pie? Like, you don't think any local network wants a piece of that pie, which is a good chunk of money anyway? When you're baseball as a marketable brand, social media is somewhat improving. Again, national TVs, whatever. But if you want baseball to mean something to people, it starts with, hey, if I'm scrolling through my TV and my local team is on and I have nothing to watch, fine, I'll put it on. Then you're creating more baseball fans. Local TV at its core, and the NFL's gotten this right forever with their preseason games, with Fox and CBS. And I know Congress has to get involved with that in some way, shape, or form. And I think, honestly, Congress should get involved here too. Because, honestly, Congress should be like, okay, you see the antitrust stuff that the NFL is doing, and we're upset with them with their antitrust laws. Well, if I'm baseball, hockey, and basketball, I'm like, all right, well, okay, we can bring up these 15 teams that don't have deals, and we can just put them on local Fox or a local Fox substation, and bam, there you go. You have the game, and we can put money back into our pockets based on the viewership and the ad revenue. When it comes to your local team, it should not be about top dollar, because you're going to make money anyway if you have the right, programs. But if you have local TV, the ad revenue is piping hot. It's right there. It's right there. It's literally there. You're making money anyway with local TV revenue. So just use that to your advantage and then make it easier. When I think of local television sports, the number one thing should be accessibility. Is this accessible and easy for the fan to access? And I understand the New York and LA markets are rough, and that's a whole separate thing. But for the 15 to 20 organizations across these three major sports, not counting the NFL, that are dealing with this problem, the solution's right in your face. Local television or fast networks. Easy, accessible, and you make a ton of money through ad revenue. Why is this so hard? Scoop, go ahead.
Well, no, you kind of actually sort of drive away the point that I was going to make, which was basically the you talked about New York and LA. People want to clamp down on the fact that there's so many fans of teams like the Yankees, like the Knicks, like the Lakers, why do you think it is? It's accessibility. It's because when you turn on the television, that's who you can see. It's because when you turn on the television, that's what's available and it's because, newsflash, people want to be able to friggin' watch their favorite team. It's shocker. It's why when I excuse me, it's why when I talk to people who are, who they may have grown up somewhere that didn't have a team, it's like, well, this was the closest or this was the other. Or why the team that they ended up picking was the Yankees, even though they lived in, Montana. Because, there's a lot of places where they went where that was still the primary team. And, I get it all ties back into, ratings and money and ad revenue and whatnot. I understand that based on what you were talking about. And largely I'm agreeing with you, because people, they hate hearing that, how many times have all three of us, I'm sure, but I know especially Brandon has, how many times have you heard the trope of, oh, it's the canonical joke of, Yankees fan, Lakers fan, Duke fan, Cowboys fan, like all that stuff. I get it though, because those are the teams that are, readily accessible for fans who, don't want to go through or can't, not necessarily just don't want to, but sometimes can't, go through every hop, skip, jump, and hoop in order to get access to, me. I'm a New Orleans Pelicans fan, which I get is the most random thing in the world as somebody who grew up in New York and went to college in New Jersey. But had I grown up in another part of the country, there's a good chance I would still be a Yankees fan, but there's a good chance that I might have grown up and my experience might have been different also.
That's no, that made me think of though. It made me think of how the Yes Network, right? The Yes Network is the Yankees, but Yankees and Nets. And everybody's like, oh, so how, everybody, because people ask me, like, oh, how are you a Nets fan? I'm like, well, because they originally were in New Jersey for my whole life and growing up watching the Yes Network, watching the Yankees, it was the Yankees and the Nets.
Yeah.
So it was like,
That's how I became a Nets fan. It was two things that made me a Nets fan when I went to South Orange. Two things that made me a Nets fan: accessibility to the games and the Knicks fans. Those were the things that made me a Nets fan.
Yeah, and you know, and for me locally, honestly, like it has been kind of enjoyable this year because I think this Friday are for the Mariners Giants game is on our local NBC station. I think we have
That should be a good game.
15 to 20 games on our local station. I just want more. And Kraken this year was on our local networks. Like, that's what it should be. It's what it should be for these teams that are struggling to find a provider. It's right in front of you. It's local TV.
It's like Aaron Boone said,
get eyeballs
right in front of us.
Eyeballs.
That's why I like what Cody said in the comments thing here. Put all teams on local channels if you want to watch any team make an MLB package on cable and get away from the streaming apps. I mean, I've said for the longest time that I know that things were starting to turn towards streaming since we were like preteens and teenagers and whatnot. But
COVIDism, I think, really kicked it into gear.
Yeah,
right.
But it's like, yeah.
But I'll put a response to what Cody said here, and this is the other aspect of this that I think is important. Fast is growing. People are watching Fast at free ad-supported television at record numbers. You're telling me you can't put your local team on Fast? You know, if you put your local team on Fast, all you need is an internet package, and you get your local team on, you know, whatever Fast network you want to use or whatever Fast provider you want to use. And so that's, you know, that I think is also another way to do it. So Kurt's question, I've been talking about this forever. He said, heard this on the radio. Only way the U.S. can compete on an elite level in the future is overseas. I agree with this, but I also disagree with it. A lot of this has to do with how bad the MLS is currently. It is such a bad product. It's inaccessible with the Apple TV Plus deal. We're talking about the inaccessibility of teams. And Patrick, we'll get to your question in a second as well. I am upset with the fact that I don't get the Sounders on local TV. It pisses me off because that was my childhood, was watching the Sounders on local TV. And that's really how I got into soccer, and then obviously expanded to Europe. Yes, at the current moment, going to Europe is your best bet across the board. Yeah. But the MLS is in a really strange spot where, and I've talked about the youth thing across the board with, it's too expensive for youth to get involved. And that's step one. If we want to improve soccer in America, it can't be $2,000 for your team, for your kid to play, you know, at a pretty high level. That's one. Secondly, is Major League Soccer needs a revamp. The first revamp is the one that we're getting, which is the European calendar. Big deal. The fact that we're getting the European calendar, what is it, next year or 2 years from now, is something I've been clamoring for 15 years. The European calendar is a big deal. Number two is, well, okay. So Don Garber, his decisions have hurt this league in a big, like massively, in terms of saying we want to compete with Europe. Okay, so the academy system got started because of David Beckham being like, yo, you need academy systems. The MLS academy systems are fairly okay, but they're not to the level of Europe. We need to improve that infrastructure if we want the academy systems to mean something. I'm skipping college entirely, okay? College soccer is not in a great spot. We need to put people in academies. College soccer is lowest common denominator. It's always going to be. We need academies, and we need reputable academies. We need coaches that want to stay in academies and all this stuff. We need to get rid of the salary cap. If we want Major League Soccer to be bigger, we can't ask Apple and Adidas to pay for Messi's contract. We need to and some of that may be, hey, we take away communities and we have proper ownership to these teams. I think we probably need to make that step, unfortunately, where we need like proper ownership. It shouldn't all be community owned. That affects your bottom line. That's really tough. Not every team is the Green Bay Packers in America. Let's be honest. Thirdly, the teams need to be back on local. The Apple TV Plus deal, taking eyes away from Major League Soccer is a big issue, and USL is improving because of it. USL is expanded greatly because of this, and I think we need an MLS USL merger at some point if we want to expand the league the way we think or the way we should. But the MLS needs better infrastructure across the board, and the viewership needs to matter. I don't like Sunday night soccer. Why are we putting soccer on Sunday nights? Sunday night soccer was something Don Garber he was the deputy commissioner of the NFL. He saw that Sundays worked and he wanted to bring it over to soccer. It doesn't work. You know what's available though?
And you're not going to have Sunday night soccer when there's Sunday night football that exists too, and Sunday night baseball.
And how women's sports has also taken over Sunday nights, and ESPN's done a good job with that. But you have Wednesdays. You have games on Wednesday. You have Wednesdays. You have Fridays if you want to take them.
I think that would be big too, because Friday is the start of the weekend basically. So that would be big to do it on a Friday.
I've always said MLS on Friday night sounds like a great idea. It's one day earlier than your Saturday run. I think Wednesdays is also fair because we've had Wednesday games in the past. They need a prime time, a consistent prime time window, and Fox can provide them with that. And that's also why I'm curious, what is the Fox number going to be this Friday with 2 MLS games back to back? But I do feel like, okay, Friday window or Wednesday window, just take an open primetime window and use it, not Sundays. But the biggest thing is, but before we do all that, the youth system has to improve. I think MLS in the next 20 years can at least prove itself to be a proving ground for young players trying to get up to Major League Soccer. But we're doing the reverse. You know, we're taking players that's past their prime and putting them in Major League Soccer to bump the brand. And it's like, we should be able to do both. But if the quality of soccer and the ability to get soccer in, you know, as many eyeballs as possible in soccer, the MLS can't rely on Apple TV or Fox to give them that if Fox only has this small centered package or what. It just doesn't work. And so, and you'll see that the numbers for MLS are going to peak at good levels for the next maybe month or two, and then they're going to nosedive again because no one wants to pay an Apple TV package for this. No one wants to.
There's only 3 people that watch Apple TV anyway. Like, it's like... Yeah. Apple TV already sucks for baseball, so why would you want to cripple soccer even further by putting that behind Apple TV? Like,
and that's what they've done, and it's bad. It's just bad for the brand. And this is why people are grabbing. If you want soccer right now, like American soccer, in the most accessible way possible, USL and NWSL are fantastic. They're easy, they're readily available, and they're improving at good numbers, and you'll see them start to skyrocket pretty well. NWSL's in a stable position, I think, overall. It's just, if the MLS wants to prove itself, they need to make wholesale changes, and they're not going to do it. Because all they care is top-end profit. They are if you want to talk about capitalism in sports and all these things that we're talking about, MLS is the biggest out of all of them in terms of we're just going to take as much money up front as possible, the Apple TV Plus deal, and we don't care about, oh, you want your local team on your local channel? Screw you. Here, have some random replays. I don't want to watch a replay of a game. I already know the result. Favorite teams soccer-wise, Patrick was asking.
I'm an honorary Geordie.
What'd you say?
I said I'm an honorary Geordie. I'm a Newcastle fan.
Right, Newcastle fan here. Brandon and I are both Chelsea fans. Mm-hmm. And then MLS-wise, obviously, Sounders fan. And then Brandon is a NYCFC fan.
Yep.
Mostly casual. But
I don't have an MLS team.
We said you should be an NYCFC fan. It's perfect. It's perfect for you.
I have no memory of that conversation.
As much as the Red Bulls are in my area, like 15 minutes from me, NYCFC is just a better club.
NYCFC has I don't know what it is about that, and I respect the Red Bulls for what they did for that state, but NYCFC, but if you're a Jersey guy, I think NYCFC, because they also played at Yankee Stadium for a long time too.
Well,
The first couple of years.
that's what drew me into was the Yankee Stadium kind of deal that they had. I mean, and the thing is too, like while the Red Bulls couldn't bring any major talent over to the MLS, NYCFC they formed and they brought over some of the best of the best. They brought over guys like Lampard, David Villa, like all these guys that
Those were a fun
when
first 3 years.
When do MLS games continue?
Again, we're starting up again tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow they're starting up again. But yeah, again, the issue is if you want to watch those teams, you got to fork up an Apple TV Plus subscription. So have fun with that. Again, it's pretty stupid. Anyway, so yeah, that's my MLS rant. It's a bad spot. I hate MLS right now. If you want to watch, as much as I dog on European soccer, if you want to watch European soccer, it's so easy. Premier League, you have NBC or Peacock, right?
Yeah.
And there's a good chunk of games on cable.
They do a great job. NBC does a great job of that, by the way. I love what they do.
They're the best in the business. Bundesliga just got a new deal yesterday. 30 games on USA Network and the rest on the new Fandango app for free. Literally every game other than those 30 games are free for the Bundesliga. Let me think. So we did England, we did Germany. The French league is paywalled pretty bad. La Liga is still on the ESPN deal, so ESPN Plus, so that's pretty rough. Champions League, Paramount Plus, you get every single game, and basically everything UEFA's there. So like that's kind of, I would say, if you want to get into football, Premier League and Champions League are easy, super accessible, and the best football on the planet still. If you want to watch football more coming up at the end of this World Cup, that's the two leagues you should start with. And if you're curious, Bundesliga, again, now being that accessible, go for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend watching the Primeira Liga in Portugal because there's only 3 teams that matter, and it's Sporting, Porto, and Benfica.
Yeah, so. and I think it's most of the South American leagues and France, which France is pretty bad. France is their league is terrible. They're hemorrhaging money at the moment. I think that's Belkin, and Belkin is that's like an extra paywall on top of what you're paying for. So yeah, I just and then if you're curious, Ronaldo plays on FS2 a good bit and FS1 a fair bit with the Saudi league. So yeah, I think if you want,
he's still on Al Nassr, right?
Yeah, he's still at Al Nassr,
and he still will play for the national team apparently, because people forgot that he said he's done with the World Cup. He didn't say he's done with the Portuguese national team.
Yeah, and Nations League's coming up. I think they still have the Fox deal there. But yeah, I would say for just skip MLS and USL entirely. It's rough. I would say Premier League, super accessible, super easy. And then Champions League, super accessible, super easy. And then if you want to do Bundesliga, now it's really accessible, go for it. And then NWSL, I'm a huge NWSL champion. They're extremely accessible now as well. So I'm a huge champion for that. So that's your 4. And then obviously with the Women's World Cup coming up, NWSL is in a great position now to get you prepared for that. So that's what I would say. But I would skip, other than women's, I would skip the US market entirely because the quality is just brutal.
Yeah,
it's just brutal for the men's side. So I just skip that entirely, honestly. But yeah, stop listening to Fox promoting MLS. It's stupid. Stop it. Okay. Home Run Derby. Netflix with the worst camera angles possible, and that's what I gotta say. It was so bad. Like Like he's like swinging a bat, and it's like, all right, we're gonna pan, dude. You know what? And I told you this, Brandon, that night. I was like, it felt like I was watching WWE Raw with like the
Yeah.
WWE Raw cameras, but
Oh,
it's the home run derby. That's what it felt like to me. They tried to be so cinematic for like no reason.
And the worst part is like, this is why I miss like when ESPN would do the home run derby, because they wouldn't pan out 70 miles for a ball in the air. So it's like every time they panned out on Netflix, you thought the ball was a moonshot that was hit 500 feet. I'm like, no, bro, it's a fly out to shallow center field. I'm like, why are we panning to like, why am I getting the camera feed from the space station? Like, it's like I don't need that. Like, when ESPN would do it, right? When ESPN would have it, and obviously, and then Chris Berman was great at commentating it.
It was always about the pitch, the swing,
Yeah.
and where the ball was landing.
Yeah, that was
Three
it.
pillars. That was it.
Like, I don't need to, and I know that ESPN loves doing this. I know a lot of companies are doing this now, stations are doing this now. I don't need interviews from a player's best friend on a rival team that is talking as he's swinging the bat. I don't need an interview during a home run derby. Like, the amount of times that I was like, oh yeah, like, what do you think about this guy's approach at the plate? I'm like, what approach? He's in a home run derby having fun.
He's just
swinging a baseball bat. Like, he's just taking batting practice in front of 1 million people. That's all it is. Like, I don't understand why. Like, and I love the spectacle of the home run derby. I mean, and if you're a fan of just, baseball in general, you will watch the home run derby. I hate when people say, "Oh, it's boring." It's not boring if you love baseball.
It's a glorified batting practice, but all it is just fun. What, we can't have fun for 3 hours watching TV?
I mean, you're not going to get really, in terms of sports, you're not going to get any more drama than the last like 6 swings from Jordan Walker to take down Schwarber in the final, because because the thing is, like, he had he had like 4 homers with like 5 swings left. Like, he was like, there was almost no chance he was going to get there. And he just gets hot out of nowhere, rips off 6 home runs in a row to win it. And I'm like, that's phenomenal. Because people don't realize is that it's glorified BP. Like, we are making fun of it a little bit, but you get tired taking that many swings. So for Jordan Walker to literally find not even a second gear, a third gear, and just belt that many home runs. I think he was pull happy. Like, he didn't hit any, I think, opposite. I think he hit maybe a couple dead center, but not many. But and his swing is so effortless too. Like, it looked like he wasn't even breaking a sweat, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, he just looked so, like, I love like the pageantry of it, kind of like everybody's having fun, so it's fun. But broadcasting, that part of it is terrible. The broadcast is terrible.
I've never seen Netflix try so hard to appeal to the lowest common denominator. They're literally trying to appeal to people who watch their television shows. Also, the other thing that we talked about that I wanted to mention on the show is you hated listening to Barry Bonds on Tuesday. You hated it. Or on Monday. You were so upset with his commentary.
Because when Barry Bonds speaks, you do listen because it's Barry Bonds. But like, roids or not, people forget that before roids, he was still a all-star Hall of Fame path baseball player. But so Barry Bonds is still respected regardless of his roids. But I think also the roids have gone to his head.
Literally and figuratively.
Thank you. I was gonna say not just because you can physically see it, but also because just mentally he's fried. Because I'm just like, I'm listening to him speak. I'm like, he knows a lot about, obviously, he's considered one of the greatest in terms of hand-eye coordination, bat path, all these different things, swing, bat speed, all that stuff. But it's like the criticisms that he has for certain players, I'm like, it makes me think that Barry Bonds hasn't watched baseball since he retired.
I don't think he does.
I'm like,
I think he has, but I think he just watches himself over and over again.
It's got. I mean, yes. I mean, listen, when you're Barry Bonds, you can do that.
Yeah, no,
But
I'm not saying I'm 100%, blaming him if he does do that, but
yeah,
it just I can't for the life of me understand some of the things that like go watch some of his YouTube videos because the things that I think he says that he thinks are just like so either eloquent or just so profound or so philosophical. I'm just like you sound
I
like you're
mean,
having just an absolute just brain fart.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was like just the need to defend. As a Yankee fan, the need to defend Ben Rice. But Barry Bonds was like harshly ripping into Ben Rice, and I'm like, why do you care so much,
he was the
Barry?
single reason, the AL won yesterday, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, him and Bellinger, they
Yeah, well,
won.
yeah, no,
They
I was
won
gonna
the
say
All-Star game.
I love me some Ben Rice, but put some respect on Bellinger's name. That's gotta
Oh, that's
yeah.
yeah. That's another thing. I saw so many people freaking out that Miguel Vargas didn't win it. I'm like, he hit a tack-on solo shot in like the 8th inning. That home run meant nothing.
Nothing.
I'm like,
That
Cody
is
Bellinger.
why I talk about high versus low leverage situations because
Cody Bellinger, yeah.
National League wins that game yesterday if Cody Bellinger is not playing for the Yankees.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger literally was down to, well, he was in an 0-2 count, 2 outs, bases loaded. It was a 0-0 game. It's literally to start the game. Like, if Sanchez strikes him out there, that's huge for the NL. And obviously, if Cody gets the base hit there, that opens the door for the AL. That one moment changed the whole game, whether people want to admit it or not. It did. So, and the thing is, it set up Ben Rice to then drive in another run on top of that right after him. So,
and that was basically the end of the game because it was just a pitching goal after that.
So like I hate when people are like, oh, what about Miguel Vargas? I'm like, Miguel Vargas' home run probably doesn't happen if it's not for Bellinger and Ben Rice. So, and especially for Belly for the 2 out 2 run single. So like
it's making me realize just how underratedly annoying Chicago fans are because we had this happen with the friggin' Bears fans who wouldn't stay in their lane last year when they got a little taste of success for the first time since the Reagan administration.
Well, hey, they got a Madden cover out of it.
It's the dumbest Madden cover I've ever seen.
We were talking about the PGA a little while ago. This is my golf clap. Yeah, and then we turn around and we got this, which because Murakami got hurt. Excuse me. Now and then the White Sox finally having a first taste of success, and now everything Miguel Vargas does is which again I respect Miguel Vargas. I think that he's a very underrated infielder and a very underrated player, and I'm happy that the Chicago White Sox finally don't suck. But it's just I don't understand how you can take that away from last night's game, thinking that because it's like because he got his hand in the picture, he deserved to be the centerpiece of it.
It's also an All-Star game. Every All-Star game is the most passive, watchable thing ever. It's just it's an All-Star game, like whatever.
But Chicago, but remember, Chicago fans are crazy because they also cared about all their starters making the Pro Bowl last year. So
that was a fan vote.
That was the point that I was trying to make.
Yeah, well, it's a fan vote, and Chicago fans were like, "We're just gonna vote for our guys to get in, and who cares?" And the Pro Bowl was entertaining.
I know, but it's like to me, like this is why. And we've said this. I mean, I know we've said this on the show before. We've debated this, but I can't stand the fan vote because fans don't know ball. They just don't.
I got pissed off at the fact. I'm sorry, Scoop. I got pissed off at the fact that I haven't been able to watch baseball for a while because of the World Cup. Why am I allowed to vote on the All-Star game? I'm sorry. Why am I allowed to vote?
I mean, they might be thinking that if you haven't cared enough to watch a game because there's soccer going on, that at the same time, I know you have like 37 monitors over there. They might be thinking that if you haven't cared enough to watch, you wouldn't care enough to go and vote right then anyway. So
I mean,
maybe
I guess
I don't know my talking sounds like it's happening at like 0.5x speed. I don't know what's going on with you today.
All I'm saying, and Scoop, you can add to this. Is like the people who watch baseball should vote for this.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But okay, so can I get into my rant now about the All-Star
yes,
game?
please,
But
please
more
go.
about the
Please
All-Star
go. This
voting.
is your time.
Okay, so the All-Star voting. Here's part of the problem that I have with the fan vote. Insofar as the part where we acknowledge whether or not fan voting should be the be-all end-all to begin with. I think there's a couple cases you can make. I think you can make the case that there shouldn't be fan voting. I think you can make the case that there should be, but it should be weighted against things like other players voting or coaches voting or whatnot. I think there's different ways you can argue that. Here's the issue that I have. Okay, the official website where you go and do the voting, it allows you to compare the players by 4 or 5 statistics. RBI, which tells you diddly squat about anything. Batting average, which I'm convinced that those guys are still doing their taxes on an abacus. And then home runs, and I forget what the other one is. But like, it gives you the most bare bones statistics to show you. So even if you are going in and doing it, not having watched much, but you're going in just to do it based off just the numbers. Even if you are doing that and you haven't watched a ton recently, you at least would think that the numbers being shown to you, it's like, okay, this is accurately reflective, or this is, significantly reflective of what's going on so far this season. No, it's not. It's not. It's not only is it a microcosm, but it's like, you guys know that allegory where somebody's sitting in a cave and they're being reflected of what's on the wall, but it's only what's right in front of them. That's what I feel like voting is like for this thing, because you're seeing this one small part of the picture that does not accurately reflect the vast majority of what's actually going on. Half of the guys who deserve to be considered aren't even options unless you write them in, which, don't ask me how that gets determined. Half of the other guys who they got hurt, and also, in my opinion, All-Star voting itself, the timing is way too wide. Because
that's for every sport, yeah.
Because half the guys who I would have voted, and this is specifically when it first came out, and I told you guys this, I'm not doing my ballot for multiple weeks. And the reason why I didn't do it for multiple weeks, and I sent it in, I think it was a week and a half ago, is because, I sent it in on like the very last day that I could. Because guys were either going to get hurt, they were going to get injured, or they were going to suck. And about half of the guys for whom I would have voted if I voted the first day, at least one of those things applied to each of them. Most. And so, look at how much could happen on just a 2-week basis for an entire team. I mean, Brandon, you and I were talking the first couple days of June about how, man, we lost Aaron Judge and the team got better. Since June 17th, we've been one of the worst teams in baseball.
Yep.
So I think that there are myriad issues with it, but the stats that they put up, because I'm sorry, not a lot of people are going to either know to, think to, or want to, or a combination thereof, go and dig up stats on other web pages and look up each of these guys on other web pages to think.
Yeah, no one's going to go on Baseball Reference or what? No, right?
Or Fangraphs or Baseball Savant if you're a nerd like me.
Right. That's what I was thinking about, Baseball Savant more than Reference. Yeah.
Did I do that? Yes. And I'm sure there's other fans who also did. But put some actual statistics that are going to be referenced when watching the game. Put at least an OBP up there. Put an OPS up there. Put, for crying out loud, at least put, a batting line or something of that nature.
Right.
Don't just give me counting stats that are getting inflated because the guy, has been available in every game because he's the only guy your team is paying at that position.
I am at the place with every single All-Star game, including the MLB All-Star game. I'd rather just say, hey, let's do the voting, and we should do the vote. I don't even like how the NBA does their voting because their stuff's weighted in a very weird way, and I think it's all they need to fix the voting. I don't even know where to begin. But I just want to get rid of the games. I just don't think they're necessary. I'd rather just give because that's the one thing for Mets and Phillies players. Guess what? You're playing tomorrow. That's not even a break. Break is 2 days. Like it's not useful to
We play the friggin' Dodgers.
Yeah, Dodgers on Friday. I just don't like it. I just think just get rid of the game. We can have the voting. We can do a whole thing with the voting. But I'd rather just give the players a week off. And you know what? Also give us fans a week off because it's a lot, especially baseball. I mean, there's so many games every day and all this stuff. It's
See, I don't agree with you on that. I don't like that I haven't watched the Yankees in 4 days.
That's fine. That's fine. But like, I respect the small break. And it's like, just for the players, man, let them go to Disneyland for a few days. Let them relax, and then we can go again. There's no reason for all-star games. Why do you think that in European soccer they don't have an all-star game? They think it's unnecessary. Stupid. It's not worth it. I just don't. There's no point for all-star games. We need to get rid of them. They're dumb. They're stupid. I understand there's TV rights involved and all these different things. And also, there were so many random stoppages. I felt like I was watching 60 hydration breaks yesterday, except it was a baseball game. It's like, what are we doing?
Good idea.
Oh, Jesus. But yeah, it's stupid. I hate all of them. And we're gonna keep talking about this any time. They're worthless. They're stupid in the modern era. Nobody cares. Let's get rid of them.
Oh, sorry, Brennan, you go first, and then I'll finish up.
Yeah, I was gonna say whenever we get a chance, I want to answer Nikki's question. I know
I was just gonna transition to that, so go for it.
Yeah, the Manta signing. You would hope with Anthony Mantha, you would hope that you get the same production that you've gotten from him last year, that you got out of him in Pittsburgh. Will he give you that same production? I don't know. Like I'm hyped for it, and I think it's a good move. He's definitely cheap. I think the contract was 2 years, $4.75 million. So I think that's a great deal, especially for a veteran, especially for a guy who's basically should be entering the prime of his career, or not entering, but in the prime of his career. He's not.
Yes, it's 4.75 per year.
Yeah, you're not going to get the thing with Anthony Mantha is he's not great. He's okay in terms of like the overall player on both sides of the ice. But I mean, honestly, when you look at like his high watermark for goals, that was last year. Really for goals and assists, last year was his best year. But even if you get something like what they got out of him in Detroit, if you get 24, 25 goals, next year, that's realistically what you need. You need, he was on fire in Pittsburgh, and the thing is, I hope that carries over. I mean, he's got the kind of guys where in New Jersey now, he's got the kind of guys that can feed him the puck. Obviously, Jack can, Nico can. He's got plenty of support there, so I would hope for about a 25, 30 goal season. And honestly, if you get that out of him, that'd be great. For a multitude of reasons, because we just don't have any real goal scoring on this team outside of probably Jack and Brat. I think that's it. Nico can score, but he's more of a two-way guy. He does well on both ends, but he doesn't excel offensively or defensively, but he's really good on both ends. Jack is your point scorer. Jack is your goal scorer. Him and Jesper play off each other well. I think Mantha's going to be on the second line. I think as he should. I don't think he's been the kind of guy in his career where he can be a first liner. I think if he's a first liner in New Jersey, then we've got some problems. But I think second line's good for him. He's definitely not a third or fourth liner. You brought him in to bring him into the top six, so he'll probably be on the second line. I like it in general. I mean, anytime you can add a guy who can score 25, 30 goals to your top six, that's important because you're not getting that production out of Timo really like we thought we would. We're not getting that production out of Nico too much lately. So you kind of need that guy to kind of step in and fill what they have kind of fallen off in doing. So I like the move. I like it because it's cheap. It doesn't hurt us. It's nice to actually have a GM who makes good deals for once. Because Tom Fitzgerald, if that was Tom Fitzgerald making that deal, he would have given him like a 5-year deal for like $11 million a year or something like that. Because he's stupid. So I'm glad that like any guys that we're bringing in right now are coming in on cheaper deals. They're coming in on not long-term deals. I think that if I had to really think about, kind of, I think everybody can benefit off of if Anthony Mantha plays the same way and gives you those 25, 30 goals. Everybody on that top six is going to benefit. Jack will benefit, Brat will benefit, Nico will benefit, Timo will benefit, because they'll all the assist numbers will go up, the goals will obviously go up. It's another guy that can create for your offense. Where it's like, and the thing is, you need a guy like that because if Jack goes down again, we know that Timo, Brad, and Nico really can't score enough to carry that hole that Jack leaves. So by you adding a guy that goes in your top six that can give you those 25, 30, then, it can give you, roughly 60 points a year. Then all of a sudden you kind of spread that wealth out and everybody can kind of take a turn, scoring a huge goal, scoring on a power plays, late in the season. I mean, hell, if we get to March again and Timo Meier takes off and Anthony Mantha is having a good year, that's huge. So there's a lot of good things to like about this. He's not too old. It's not like you're signing somebody for 2 years and he's like 34 years old. You're getting him at 31 years old. So you're getting him when he's still, he's in the prime of his career still. And you just hope that he gives you exactly what he gave you last year in Pittsburgh. If Anthony Mantha gives you that, or even something close to that, the Devils be in great shape. And then so with this move, you just have to bolster. You still have to figure out what you're doing defensively and in net and at goalie. But I think that's a move that had to be made now, especially with all these other teams around them in the Metro and in the East, just making moves. We talked about what was it, last show or a couple shows ago, what Washington has done and what Carolina coming off their cup run, obviously. What these teams are doing to kind of get to stay in contention and for a cup. The Devils kind of they have to compete. And Sonny Maeda's no idiot. He'll do what's right for this team. And so far, everything he's done so far between clearing the bad contracts off the roster, not every single one of them, because you're not going to get everybody off the roster, but clearing 90% of the bad contracts off this roster, getting rid of a couple guys that were quote unquote fan favorites, doing that and bringing in a real experienced guy, a 25, 30 plus goal scorer, that's huge. The Devils needed somebody like that. So hey, listen, that's funny, but but listen, I trust in Sonny Maeda. And there's the whole thing of sunny days are ahead. I would hope so, because Tom Fitzgerald put us in such a hole that I don't like when Devils fans right now, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I don't like when Devils fans right now are criticizing, it seems like, every non-move or every move that Sonny makes. I'm like, you do realize you can't fix this mess overnight, right?
Especially a new GM in his first offseason, it takes a little while before you can make a determination.
What's how's that saying work? They didn't build Rome in a day.
Yeah, and the thing is like he's already making great moves. We've made more progress this offseason.
That was funny from Nicole.
Yeah, we made because the NTCs and NMCs from Tom Fitzgerald is nauseating. The amount of those he gave out, plus the bad extensions, plus the bad contracts in general, it was terrible all the way around. But what Sonny Maeda has done in one offseason is already better than anything Tom Fitzgerald had done in his entire GM career with the Devils. So I like Sonny Maeda could literally retire tomorrow if he decided to. He's already put the Devils in a better spot going forward than Tom Fitzgerald ever did. So, because people love to say, "Oh, well, Tom Fitzgerald was in the building when Jack and Nico got drafted." Yeah, but he wasn't the one that drafted them, and he had no part in drafting them whatsoever. So, because if people remember, which Devils
When
fans
people
do,
say in the building when that happened is crazy to me. Like
I don't like
Yeah.
when people say.
big
I don't
freaking
like
deal.
when people say
It
like,
doesn't mean that he's the main guy who made a decision. This happens in the NFL too.
like
It's
it was the
who's
same.
in the
It was the
building
same
with this guy.
thing.
How many times are we in a draft? Not in a draft room, but how many times are we like seeing those video footages of being in a draft room, and you can just tell that it may be a coach and a GM, it may be a GM and an
Mhm.
owner or whoever, but you can tell. We don't know which one it was, but one of them did not want to make that trade, or one of them did not want to make that, or one of them did not want to make that pick. The infamous, Shador Sanders Cleveland Browns situation. And I know what happened with our guys at one point, and then I forget which one it was.
Yeah,
But
but like it's the same thing when people talked about, and it's a lot. It's a big reason why a lot of Yankee fans don't like Brian Cashman, is because it's like Gene Michael was the one that built the dynasty for the '90s. Brian Cashman was just there as an intern and then eventually assistant GM and whatever. But it's the same thing with Tom Fitzgerald with the Devils. Everyone's like, "Oh, he helped bring in Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes." I'm like, "No, he didn't," and that was all Ray Shero.
right,
Like
but that's the thing is Cashman also was pretty much a hand-picked guy by Gene Michael. So if you want to
yeah,
look, but if you want to look at, so if you want to look at and say, it was Gene Michael who identified the talent. Okay, it was also Gene Michael who identified Brian Cashman as the talent to succeed here.
yeah. Well, you're always gonna have some bumps along the way.
Yeah,
your successor.
especially when you have one job for 30 years.
Yeah, and you're a successor. It's like you don't know that your successor is going to be as good as you were, and then 9 times out of 10 they're not. And it's
Right.
like, but it's also like, it was the same thing when we kept saying, "Oh, well, Jason Kelsey handpicked Cam Jurgens to be the next Eagles center," and Cam had a great first year at center, and then last year he was god awful.
Oh my God, the penalties.
So
Oh.
yeah,
No,
So-
but I'm not going to say anything because
Scoop, that's a long hold, man. That
Yeah.
was a long hold, man. Audio listeners thought that the podcast broke. What?
yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let this past year be this past year, and we're gonna move forward because
Oh,
Yeah.
wait until I buy you guys the bunny. So wait till that
Oh
comes out.
no! Don't do that.
no, you know what? If Brandon doesn't want it, I'll take it. I need that money.
Well, but Jesus.
I need all I need all the vibes in my
I
life.
have enough stress in my life. Do you guys want to see me crash out on? But put it this way, I'll ask the
Vibes
comment
bunny?
section. Do you guys want to see me crash out and pop the bunny with like a pin during the season and just like use it as a punching bag essentially after every loss?
I'm not gonna
Like-
get one right now. I'm saying when
you use that thing as a punching bag once,
we
it
have-
ceases to exist. It
we
turns
have-
into a chewed wad of double bubble.
Once we make money and can afford a studio, that's like one of the first things I'm buying for the studio is that bunny. I'm gonna find the exact bunny and get it. Okay. Second half of the season for baseball. What are the teams I need to watch? What are the teams I should avoid at all costs?
Here, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. A team that I think people are sleeping on, I'm not even saying this because you're on this show, I think it's your Mariners.
I'm okay with how we've been playing so far. I'm okay.
I think you guys, not only with how you've been playing, I think you guys hit a little bit of bad luck recently. I think you guys hit a little bit of that sort of, will have positive regression to kick out the second half. If there is, I said this a couple of weeks ago. You guys asked me who are the teams outside of Tampa that I would not want to face in an ALCS. Literally, the only other team that I can come up with other than Tampa Bay is Seattle. That is the only other team that I don't think I'd want to face in an ALCS. I'd be comfortable facing Toronto. I'm comfortable facing Houston. I'm comfortable facing anybody in the AL Central, and I'm comfortable facing Boston. I am not. I would lose a little bit of sleep at night if I had to face Seattle in a 7-game series.
I think I would
I
be.
need a list, guys. I need to know what I need to watch because I don't
I'd
want
say,
to
well,
waste
yeah,
my time watching
I
crap.
think
But see,
crap
here's the
baseball.
problem: the AL sucks.
that's what I'm
This
saying.
is
Yeah,
this
really.
is the problem. That
Yeah.
That's the funny part. The AL,
I just gave
sorry.
you that list. That list is 3 teams long. That list is
Like
Tampa, New York, and Seattle. That is the list.
when you look at the NL, you could literally say the top 3 teams of each division is who you should watch. Like, because obviously you have a case for the Braves. You know, the Brewers right now, the Brewers and Dodgers are
The
once again
Braves are
like,
watchable even when they're struggling. That's the crazy thing about them.
yeah, like, but that's like the Braves, the Brewers, the Dodgers all lead their divisions.
Yeah.
And they're all playing, great baseball.
The Marlins,
Uh,
keep an eye on the
yeah,
Marlins.
I would say the Marlins too, Phillies, the Cubs, the Cardinals are making a run.
Here's what
And
I'll
I
say,
mean, even
Bob. Ask
and
me. Sorry.
I was gonna say even I would say even though they're a little bit further back, I would still keep an eye on them. I think Arizona and the Padres, those two teams are fighting for the last wild card spot right now. So,
I mean, the Padres, I think, fight themselves every couple of days. That
but
team is
that's also what makes them fun to watch, is because you don't know
Do
what the hell is going to happen.
Do you
No,
want? Do you
that
want to go?
I mean,
Do you want to go division by division and kind of how you see the division sort of playing out and what's kind of watchable in each division?
sure. I'll let Brandon go for each one first, and then I'll go. Not like okay. I phrased that terribly. Each one of those will go through. Brandon goes, and then I go.
Okay. All right. We'll go with MLB standings here, and that's a great list, Brandon. I appreciate Scoop. I appreciate you telling me that there's only 3 that are really interesting.
In the American League, yeah, the only 3 teams that matter in the American League are and 2 of them in the AL East.
That's what I meant. It's
Yeah.
Tampa, New York, and Seattle. Like Boston was so confident in themselves they fired their own manager in April.
So Boston, Baltimore, Toronto. You guys don't care.
I don't.
They don't even care. Why would we?
I would just keep an eye on the Red Sox because after sweeping us, they've become hot, and they went from being last place to now being a half game out of a wild card spot. So I would keep an eye on Boston. Not like compared to us, the Rays and the Mariners, but I would say like just keep an eye on that wild card race because they're right there. So they're getting better now. Like literally the same time they got hot last season is almost the same time they're getting hot this season.
But
So
at that point, they still had the guys that they had just traded Devers for. All those guys are gone. They still had Alex Cora. He's gone. This is a lot different situation to me.
yeah, I'm just comparing the timeline of things and just kind of where Boston's played up to this point the last like week or so. And
while you keep talking, just give me 1 second. I gotta grab a bottle of water.
yeah, and I think yeah. So I think when it comes to, like the AL East right now, like if I'd like give like a future kind of update, I still think even though we're 3 games back and we kind of can't handle the Rays, I think the Rays are still playing way better than what they really are. I still think we catch them, especially once we get healthy, coming up in August. I think as long as we keep it within about 3-4 games the rest of the way, by the time we get healthy, I think we'll eventually catch them. I don't think this is going to be last year where like the Blue Jays just ran away with it. They almost choked at the very end, but the Blue Jays basically, kept their foot on the gas the rest of the way and stayed in front of us. I don't think the Rays are built to do that. I think that going through the AL Central, that's tough because
White Sox still just a massive surprise.
Because the White Sox are a surprise, but it's like
they're also only 4 games over 500.
That's what I'm saying. Is like them and Cleveland. Yeah, them and Cleveland are fighting there for the division, but it's like the rest of those teams aren't any good, and Cleveland and Chicago are just kind of beating up on everybody else in that division, and that's about it. Like that's basically what's happening. So it's like I don't know how much I care about either one of them. I mean, they're fun story. Like Chicago's a fun story if they can keep battling and maybe make a wild card. But I think Cleveland will catch them eventually. Just because Cleveland still has a couple guys from their core of the last 7-8 years. So I think that's that's gonna be interesting to see who wins it because obviously somebody has to, but I don't think that that division is anything special. I mean, we've said that for years now. The AL Central is just not special.
Can I be 100% honest with you?
Yeah.
If they hang on to him, I don't think that it's unreasonable that keeping Skubal, Detroit can win that division.
Detroit could. The thing is, the thing is, a lot of their hitting is not where it was the last year or two. Like a lot of their hitters are not really performing well.
Minnesota has no pitching whatsoever. They like just look at that runs allowed number 485 is hurting my eyes, and like it. Okay, Cleveland. I don't trust them not to self implode, and Chicago. Yeah, it's a nice story, like we just said, but excuse me. I just feel like they're just benefiting a lot more from making mincemeat of a weak division than they are. Like, when was the last? Like, I mean, even recently. I mean, look right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Like this, Detroit has a more talented roster to me than any of those three ahead of them.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And I would still, I hate him, but I would still trust AJ Hinch more than any of those managers ahead of him, even though I do like Steven Vogt.
All right, AL West. Are you guys? Go finish up, Scoop. Sorry.
Their leading team in that division is up 2 games over 500.
Yeah, the AL West is terrible.
The AL.
So should I worry about Texas and Houston at all here?
People bring this up to me in the comments all the time. You can hear it on record right now, July 15th, 7:47 p.m. Central Time. If New York doesn't win the American League with this conference the way it is right now, clean it. Clean it. Because there's no excuse to not win the AL when you have lost Aaron Judge and are still sitting
again. Like I raise you the Rays because of how nasty they've been.
I will say the Yankees.
The Yankees just beat Tampa though.
The thing is, to me, we almost have to win the division. I think to win the AL because our record at the Trop is abysmal, and I don't want to start a series there.
Want to play at the Trop?
If we have to play the Rays, I prefer us to have the home field advantage, not them. And also because that place is just a house of horrors for the Yankees, and B that I cannot stand when I don't want to see a postseason game at the Trop come down to a fly ball lost in that garbage heap of a roof. So
that is 100%.
We were yelling about that last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything on the AL West? Should I be worried as a Mariners fan here with this?
No,
I wouldn't. You know why? Because I'm just like, you guys are still the most complete team there, and because Houston's really just thriving off the back of Jordan Alvarez, and that's about it. In terms of just their hitting. Texas is weird because Texas is like, even though they're winning the division by a game and a half or realistically 2 games, it's weird because everybody's talking about the Mariners and Astros now, and I don't hear anything about Texas ever when people talk about that division. And I think that Texas, with the rumors of them looking to deal some guys, I don't know why you would if you're winning a division at the All-Star break, but I think that I still think the Mariners still have the best chance to win that division out of any of the 5 teams there. I mean, the A's, they were fun for a while, but goodbye. The Angels, it's like the Angels are the Angels. That's just a walking. That's like I said, that's St. Mary's School for the Blind over there.
Angels are on national TV. By the way, the Angels are on national TV way too much.
I don't know why. I mean, I know it's the LA market, but it's not the Dodgers. The Angels suck.
I'm convinced that that's just to get, which I don't think is unusual or unreasonable. You and I, well, all 3 of us talk about marketing their best, like marketing your best talent as a sport.
Yeah.
You got to get Mike Trout on TV as much as you can.
Yeah, I'm still watching.
Also, I'm going to go back to what you said, Rob, in the very beginning. you asked about teams to watch. Hit me with that question again in 2 weeks because we got the trade deadline coming up in two
Yeah.
and a half weeks.
We'll rehash it. I'm just saying right after the All-Star break.
Yeah,
we
no,
can
I
rehash
know.
it in 2
I'm
weeks.
just I keep looking at these teams and I keep thinking about, well, Houston could trade a couple of guys. I think LA could trade a couple of guys. I think that the Nomads could trade a couple of guys. I think that Boston could trade a couple of guys. It's like I keep looking at Detroit. I keep looking at teams thinking that, like, okay, they could really capsize themselves over the next week and a half, which means that the teams that I tell you to watch for, even if they're not great, just for players to like the watching, or to be interested in watching, could change so drastically in that series.
Oh, look at the Mets. 17 games under 500. Oh,
I watched the Mets a
understand.
lot. I watched the Mets a lot during 4th of July weekend. I was like, why are they even on TV? It's torture, dude.
I still don't understand why you would fire Carlos Mendoza and keep Dave Stearns.
Thank you.
That made no sense to me. And I'm a fan, and I'm a fan of Steve Cohen. I thought he was going to be really good for the game. I thought he was going to be really good for the team. But looking at what I'm seeing over the last year or two, I am so confused by the plan there. I am so confused by the vision to compete and to build top to bottom. And it just has me like this franchise has not been able to get out of its own damn way. Like we just talked about the Angels, the Mets are the Angels of the East. And
you know what's funny too? Mets Phillies tomorrow during our show. I'm gonna have that on in the background. So we'll see how bad. We'll see how bad the Mets are gonna implode on national TV tomorrow.
Turkey blasted.
You know what it is about Steve Cohen to me, and I said this even when he came in, as the new owner. I was like, everything about him just screams just great value brand George Steinbrenner. Because this guy wants to spend it's because great value is the Walmart brand. It's like a knockoff brand. So
it's like Aldi.
Yeah, something like that. So it's like, to me, it's like Steve Cohen always just screamed to me wannabe George Steinbrenner. Like that to me, it's like, because George, he's like, yeah, he would spend recklessly, but he also went after, a lot of big name guys, especially ones that were either in their prime, entering their prime, et cetera, and knew kind of the risk. He knew the kind of risk reward game he was playing. Steve Cohen to me just seems like he's signing guys that are just big, just to sign them, and just big names. It has no clue about. First of all, because also it's just let's just take this year at face value. You bring in Polanco. You bring in Bichette. You get rid of some reason. You get rid of Brendan Nimmo, who's one of your best players in franchise history in the last 20 years.
Bichette was insane. Do you remember that press conference when he literally looked to his agent and was like, "Am I going to be here next year?"
I don't understand.
I cannot think of a worse way to ingratiate yourself to your fans than that.
I just don't understand. Like Steve Cohen, I just saw to me, I'm convinced that Steve Cohen's almost like just one of those guys that's that we harp on every year, like a Woody Johnson, where it's like he's nowhere near the team, and it's like he's just picking names. Like, oh, I know that name from 5 years ago. I know this one from 3 years ago. Let's sign him to a big contract because I know who that is, and I don't know who this is, or I don't care who this is, so we'll get rid of him. Like you're saying, oh, let's go get Bo Bichette. Granted, you give him a big deal, but it's split across a 1 year, basically each year. So, I understand that. But getting him and sticking him at third base, why did you think that was ever going to work when he is a shortstop and second baseman by trade? Then you get Polanco. Polanco had, up until this season, played one career game at first base, and it was last year for Seattle. So I'm like, and so we're going to bring him in and stick him at first base. What the hell are you doing? I think you're giving them deals that they don't deserve. They're not worth the kind of money you're giving them, even if it's a 1 year or a 5 year, etc.
it's like a roster. Remember a few years ago when the Colorado Rockies randomly signed Ian Desmond to play him out of position?
God.
It's basically
Yeah.
a roster filled with those guys. It's a roster filled. It's a Colorado Rockies style roster filled of Ian Desmond and Chris Bryant type deals that just have you overpay your Dak Prescotting, basically paying basically paying A level money to B level players, and
Yeah.
not only that, but it's like signing a bunch of Dak Prescotts and then asking them to play tight end.
So Atlanta, Philly, Miami. Do I have to worry about Washington at all?
They're young and they're fun, but they like, to me, I want to see, because I keep hearing that CJ Abrams is a big deadline target for teams. So I'm not sure yet, because Washington did play us pretty tough until we basically, we stole 3 games from them. But so Washington is tough. The problem with Washington is I don't care about them unless at the deadline they feel serious enough to compete and they go out and get bullpen help, because that bullpen is complete garbage.
They have needed bullpen help every year that I can remember, except for the year they won the title.
Basically,
it's so weird.
They've got the hitting and they've got decent enough starting pitching. They just do not have a bullpen to save their life, and they haven't had one for years. So it's like, I don't understand. Like, I love the fact that
Sean Doolittle and Tyler Clippard.
Like, they've got. I mean, hell, what does it tell you when they're bringing in, former Yankee, when basically a kind of technically a journeyman in Clayton Beater to pitch against us, and we just knock him silly out of the game and basically win the game.
I remember when I thought that Clayton Beater was going to be actually a solid player for us.
Yeah.
But man, life comes at you fast.
It's just it's rough. Washington has a lot of guys you should be excited about. They've got.
Oh yeah, I think they could easily finish exactly at 500 this year.
They could, and I mean, honestly, I think that if the potential kicks in the second half of the year, they could finish maybe, I would say, maybe about 8 games above 500, like possibly. I think they have a chance. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think they have a chance to. If those guys continue to play well, and they just maybe, if they decide that they're contenders and they add a little bit at least to their pitching, I think they'll be okay. But as of right now, no, just because that bullpen is so atrocious and that they just won't fix it. So it's like, I would say realistically, no, don't care about them, but there's always a chance given how good their young talent is. So,
all right, the Central.
Pretty much
crickets.
I like I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a couple of players the Pirates have. Obviously, we know Jordan Walker for the Cardinals, but the Cubs, the Cubs are the Cubs. I think they're always going to matter. Milwaukee's obviously got fantastic pitching from all the way from their first starter to the back of their bullpen. And I mean, and they just have a bunch of good players, good solid players. I mean, Bryce Terang's one of them.
And they're still even with how great how much of a pitching heavy team they are, they're still the number 2 team in scoring in that division.
Yeah, so it's like, that's, to me, I think the Milwaukee's completely fine. You can watch them all the way through even to the playoffs. Chicago, I think, is right there with them. Even though they're 5 games back, they're right there. I think Chicago's a great team. But yeah, the rest of that division it's kind of tough going forward. I mean, the Cardinals only 5 games above 500. Jordan Walker's been fantastic. I think they converted, I forget what his name was, O'Brien. I think they converted him to being a closer.
Riley O'Brien?
Yeah.
Yes.
He almost killed Junior Caminero, but still, regardless, I think that, they have a great closer. They have pieces, just like the Pirates. They have a couple pieces that people should like, but they're not a contender, I would say. They're not a team that I really think can make noise. Like, Chicago can make noise. Milwaukee's fantastic. I think everybody else is kind of just middling. And then Cincinnati has 1 or 2 good players, but after that, it's just nothing but crap. I don't like Cincinnati at all. So
I have a different opinion on this than you. I think any one of those teams, and I'm including Cincinnati on this, I think any one of those teams is watchable on any given night. I think that Cincinnati, keep in mind, you still got, yes, it's not a deep roster, but if you're, and Rob, you're a big stars guy. You're a big, market your stars guy. You're a big, get your talent guys up there on TV. Ellie De La Cruz,
Yeah.
The Reds are on TV so often.
Sal Stewart. There is, you go top to bottom. I honestly, if you're just asking me about deepest, I think this is the deepest division in baseball. And I think that there's a good chance, in my opinion, that the division leader and that three of the playoff teams in the NL come out of this division this year. I think that I think this division could have 3 playoff teams in it.
That's fair. See, for me, that's how I feel about the East, because the Marlins have had a good year. The Phillies are they could have easily spiraled after Don Mattingly took over and they got better. And then the Braves are the Braves.
The same Don Mattingly that I keep getting told that New York keeps screwing up by not hiring.
Yeah, I don't want him in New York. I don't think that would work, but it works in Philadelphia. I think that's okay.
Yeah,
and I think that. So I think, to me, it's like what you said, but for me, that's the East. And I just think that, NL Central is just one of those. It's just, the Cardinals had that pedigree of they're another one of those kind of legacy teams and a lot of, history wise. So it's like the Cardinals, no matter if they're winning that division or if they're third like they are now, they will always be watchable to some extent because it's the Cardinals.
I actually like the Pirates more than the Cardinals. I'm not gonna lie. But again, you remember that I was on the Pirates train before the season started, so I might still be riding that a little bit too hard.
Yeah, to me it just feels like they're overachieving a little bit. I think they'll come back down to earth. Like that's just kind of how I see it. But the Cardinals to me seem like they are a team that can get hot, and the Cardinals just. It's that history thing that keeps repeating in my mind. Obviously, I love what Jordan Walker is, and I love what he is for the game and for that team. I love Riley O'Brien as a closer this year, and obviously he's an all-star for it. So I like the Cardinals a little bit more. I don't know where they're going to finish. To me, I just think that if there's 3 teams going through, I think it's in the NL East. But the Central does have a good chance. I think the NL East would put three teams through. But just to me in the Central, what I care about the most going forward, is the Brewers. And honestly, the only way you would care to me about the Cubs and Cardinals is the Brewers and Cubs matter. I think the only way you would care about the Cardinals going forward, I should say, is obviously they're only 3.5 back of the Cubs. That's a rivalry game. That's important. There's always great games between them every year.
Yeah,
so I think
Cardinals is probably right behind Dodgers Giants as the number 3 rivalry in baseball.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, it's just one of those just tried and true kind of rivalries. So I think that's also what could kickstart a little bit of St. Louis on a run going forward. Especially because 3.5 is nothing. People make a big deal about it when it's the Yankees being 3 back of the Rays, but it's 3 back is nothing. That's one series. So, I don't look at it as to me, it's you can start if you go into the second half, you can the teams that should panic are the ones I would say are roughly 9 games back around there and then on down. But really, if you get on a real great run for 3 weeks, you can go from being a 4th place team to being second in the division. So I don't give up on teams like the Nationals right now. I don't give up on, like I said, I know I don't care too much about the Cardinals, but I like what they have, and I think they have enough to make a run. But I think that's it. Then the NL West, and that's where we'll kind of finish that, is the Dodgers are the Dodgers. That's what they are.
They're great and fun and just everything.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we could probably skip the Dodgers and talk about the rest of this division, honestly, because
the
Dodgers are just that good.
And I just, the Padres are 3 games out for the last wild card spot. Obviously, the Diamondbacks are 2 games out. They're chasing each other. So I think that wild card race is important. That's probably why you have to watch those two. But other than just them competing for a wild card spot, I mean, they're obviously not catching the Dodgers for the division. That's not going to happen. So I like honestly I like Arizona more than I like San Diego. So I just but I mean the Giants, they ever since winning those 3 titles, way back when we were preteens going into being a teenager, like ever since that the Giants have just been one of those teams where it's just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Rockies are the Rockies. They have a couple fun players. They have an exciting young core, but they're still not good. There's just a lot there that kind of has to slowly change. Although I would say the only reason you're keeping an eye on the Rockies is some of their guys being trade deadline pieces to look at. But I also don't think the Rockies are going to be too quick to make any moves to get rid of guys, to bring in guys when they have a couple guys who are pretty up and coming. Like Hunter Goodman is fantastic. I think that's he's a name we've heard a lot, obviously, because the catcher market's not great this year. So we've heard his name floating around, but I don't think the Rockies, knowing they know what they have in him there, and I think that he's some guy where it's going to take a big package to go and get him. Someone's going to give up some, a pretty good amount to get him. So,
Brandon,
well,
if it's not Jeffers or Rutschman, would you want him on New York?
I mean,
well, here's a better question: would you want to make the trade for what it would cost to get him for New York?
I don't think so, because I've seen a lot of mock trades. Obviously, a lot of these Yankees pages are putting up, and I'm like, they're like, oh, Hunter Goodman for this package. Who says no? I'm like, the Rockies, because you're giving them nothing in return. Like,
I hate the social media trade people, because they're like, who says no?
Yeah.
I'm like, everybody says no to like 3/4
Yeah.
of these. Shut up.
Every time this trade season happens, this is one of my favorite parts of being a sports fan is the when the trade frenzies happen, everybody's trying to compete to improve their teams, both for the present and for the future. But oh my gosh, social media gets plagued with these freaking just eyesore, just brain numbing. I don't even know what to call. I don't even know what to call them. I don't even know what to call them. But you guys remember? And I promise this is not making a political statement, but I'm just saying. Do you remember a few years ago when one of the candidates said, "Every time I listen to you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you just said"? That's what I feel. That's what I feel reading some of these, because I just think.
Oh my God! Do you Scoop? Do you know about the bin that's running for office in the UK?
No.
Oh God.
He's a trash can. Like, he's a guy in a trash can suit, and he might win office in the UK.
I don't even know how that would even be allowed, but they can go for it.
He's a bin. I'll find him right now. He's a bin, dude.
I know you sent me that picture.
20 years later, and we're doing and taking a whole new definition of yes, we can.
Put it this way.
His name is Count Binface.
I don't get why. I don't know how that's gaining. I mean, listen, we can say that we don't know. That's insane.
He's a bin. Damn it! I can't find a picture of him.
Well, you know what it is.
I found a picture of him. Apparently, his actual name is Jonathan David Harvey.
Oh my God! It sounds like one of those shooters that you read about in a history textbook.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like a serial killer.
He's a bin.
Put it this way. Nothing. I shouldn't be that surprised, because if we can sit there and say, oh, no way a celebrity would get into office, and Donald Trump did,
then how about a guy in a bin suit?
Then what? You know what? Let's go for it. Screw it. But to get back to Scoop's point about Hunter Goodman, I I still have
forgot I
that.
said that, to be honest.
I still have that wariness of not wanting Colorado guys in New York, but I but to me, I think he's probably your second best bet. I still don't know, but I don't know why that they're pushing aggressive. It feels like every flavor of the month for catchers for like the Yankees trade targets have been like Jeffers, Dingler. Now it's Goodman.
I've
Like
never. No, I mean, Goodman. I was just asking about Dingler. I haven't heard.
I've heard it early on because back when they said that Jeffers was like the number one, like when this first came about back in like late April, early May.
Yeah,
I
Jeffers is the name I've heard most consistently.
I just don't want it because the injury history scares the crap out of me. So I don't want it.
I don't want it because I trust Rutschman's glove more.
And that too. That I don't know why the Adley Rushman thing is not really getting much play right now compared to a couple of the others. Because I'm like, to me, he's the best case scenario for the Yankees.
My guess is it's not getting much play because of the whole in division thing. That's my guess, which I think is stupid, but that would be my guess. But also keep in mind, I mean, trades just really haven't started yet.
Yeah.
So, and here's another thing, people may think, oh, it's why are you making such a big deal out of this? I do think it matters. The trade deadline this year is 3 days later than it normally is. The trade deadline this year is August 3rd. When it comes to trade deadlines, every second matters. So I think because of that, I think you're going to see, and I just realized this while we were on air tonight, I probably will miss most of the trades that happen because normally I'm used to covering them on either this show or shows like this in the run up to the trade deadline. But because I'm going to be on my trip, I leave on the 31st. So because I'm going to be on my trip, I'm not going to probably be able to cover any of them. So, but that's when I would expect most of these things to happen. I think you're going to see most of these things happen in the last 72 hours before the deadline.
Yeah. Anything else on the NL West, Scoop?
No.
No, but why do you sound so far away, Rob?
I have no idea. I moved my chair back.
Maybe that's why.
All right. So,
Mr. Wilsey says, question, trapped on an island, only one unlimited streaming service. Which one do you want? This is the easiest thing in the world to me.
I have an idea. Yeah.
This is so easy to me.
They all don't have. They're all so fragmented.
Music, podcasts, audiobooks. Give me Spotify.
God, I don't like Spotify.
But it's the only one I can think of that gives me pretty much everything that I could ask for.
I mean, so I can't count cable because I just say YouTube TV, but that doesn't count. Crap.
See, that's the thing is I
YouTube Unlimited.
I could have said YouTube because YouTube has YouTube Music and YouTube TV and whatnot. But just going YouTube as a
it doesn't have YouTube TV. YouTube TV is separate. Yeah, YouTube TV is separate. You just get the music and ad for YouTube on the unlimited plan. Crap. I guess ESPN Unlimited now. You probably get the most bang for your buck if you're a sports fan, probably.
Yeah.
Because you get a bunch of soccer. You get everything on ESPN's networks, which is a good majority of stuff. You have the Super Bowl this year. As a sports fan, it's so fragmented, I could never choose one.
I think
unless it's cable. I think cable is still, unfortunately, considering how expensive it is, although the streaming cable's been pretty good, that's probably your best bang for your buck to get the most value out of it now.
Yeah. For me, I grew up with Prime because my grandfather pays for it. Even though I have my own Prime account, under his, whatever. But
Prime is very good.
Prime is all right, but the problem is that what tips the scales for me in terms of a streaming service is what I have. I got it and I still use it all the time. It's the only one I use all the time. It's HBO Max. That's the one I use. That's the one I use pretty much most often because it has all the stuff I want on there. It's got all my favorite stuff. Prime doesn't have a lot of stuff I like, and the thing is, they hide a lot of their stuff behind a paywall, so I don't like that. So it's like you can have Prime Video, but it's like, what good is it if I can only watch a certain amount of things and other stuff that I really want to watch is behind a paywall? Like, renting a movie for like $12. No, thank you.
Yeah, Patrick. My thing is, as much as I love movies, I'm a movie theater guy, number one, and number two is I don't care that much. I'm too much of a sports fan that if you told me you just can't watch movies, I wouldn't care.
I think that
I'm not a movie guy, to be honest. So
I
think
love
that-
movies; it's my passion. But
yeah.
I'm going with what I watch all the time, what I put on. It's
Well,
sports. That's it.
You know why? You know why I also say HBO Max, and this is also why Patrick knows this because we talk about this, off air. But it has wrestling, AEW. So
AEW is great there,
that's
yeah.
why I watch it because I can go back and watch any episode of AEW that I want. I can go back and go browse their whole library of stuff, and then I can also just when HBO Max does have because it's basically with TBS, you get a lot of baseball with that, so that's
Yep.
always good. I wish they had more because they really get mostly just baseball and NASCAR, and also playoff hockey. So that's all. So you get a lot of that too, which is nice.
Huge, yeah.
And basketball to a degree. But
It's what is their college hoops program? I think it's Big 12 this year, a little ACC,
yeah,
and then same
So-
with football. I think it's like it's Big 12 ACC stuff.
so it's HBO
actually
Max
just
to me
Big
has
12.
HBO Max to me has the best it doesn't have every no streaming service is going to have everything, but I think HBO Max gives me the best variety between movies, shows, and sports. So it's like that's kind of where I go. That's the only streaming service that I pay for. So I think that's kind of why, because it has everything I want. So yeah, I think for me it's probably HBO Max, but I get why somebody with for me it's like a close second is Prime. But
For
I can't do.
me, yeah. Sorry,
I can't.
finish up.
I can't. But definitely, and it's not just because of what we said about their home run derby broadcast, but Netflix sucks. It just sucks.
My parents use Netflix. I really only use it if there's like boxing or MMA on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a TV show guy, and I love movies, but I see them in the theater, so it's just like whatever. And so like YouTube TV is great for me because I'm just always watching something for sports, I guess. That's basically all I use it for. And also, I mean, that's the kind of nice part about cable packages now, especially at like the somewhat fair prices that the streaming cables are in now. There's like a ton of movies on there. You can record whatever you want. So it's nice. But I wouldn't call it a streaming service. There's still cable. It still counts. Just a different type of cable. So that's that. And it's like, and I don't know, music. I mean, I guess YouTube, but that's not really a service because it's free. But whatever.
what is Monday? Never mind.
Monday Night Raw? Only even Monday Night Raw sucks, bro. I don't like Monday Night Raw.
It because there was I read Monday Night Rave, and I was thinking like my friends who go out raving. I was so confused.
God.
No, Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw is not good, bro. I don't like
people.
Monday Night Raw, and I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown in ages. Like I just haven't. I don't care.
I want to keep up with it, but it's like outside of a lot of my favorite, veteran wrestlers from when I was little, like Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, etc. Like outside, Drew McIntyre. Like outside of all these different guys, like outside of, well, I shouldn't say all these different guys, but outside of those few guys, AEW to me is just a better product. It's more for the hardcore wrestling fan. So it's
and we talked about this last week. WWE doesn't know what they're doing with their talent. Everything's so regimented, and it's just like, oh,
yeah. It just feels too.
SummerSlam has some good matches, but we're just gonna watch a bunch of commercials. No thanks.
Oh, I'm also the one thing I am upset about AEW for is that no Full Gear in New Jersey this year.
They moved it to Phoenix.
Yeah, which is stupid because Phoenix will not get the draw that New Jersey gets.
Yeah,
it just won't.
Yeah.
So that's a bad move on AEW's part to not have it. Although they said that we could get the next pay-per-view after that. We could probably get World's End in Jersey. So
It'd be
if
fun.
we get World's End in Jersey, I'm fine with it. I'll go see that. But yeah, it's not to me. It's not, I understand wanting to move the pay-per-views around and whatnot, but New Jersey has such a massive wrestling culture that it's stupid to move Full Gear out of Newark, out of Jersey.
The way that you've talked about it is like Full Gear is like part of your year. It's like just like this big part of your calendar
It's
year.
become that because Full Gear, like they've had 3 shows here in the last 4 years. Like Full Gear has become like Jersey's pay-per-view. So it's like I don't understand. Like if they can keep putting pay-per-views in Chicago because it's Chicago, I'm like, why can't you leave Full Gear in New Jersey, knowing the term? Oh my blind! Well, like
Scoop, what is happening today? You're moving around.
Why are you going? Why are you trying to bring me into the light?
Are you Jesus?
I mean, like I. See, Patrick, you're missing out. If you watch AEW,
you are missing out. Beach Bass. Brandon told me Beach Bass was really good. I haven't recorded it. I gotta watch it.
Oh yeah. Because they actually give a crap about what they're putting on for matches. We said this for the last few weeks now. Like, that's also why I'm bummed that Full Gear is not in Jersey this year. Like, I hope that one of these pay-per-views will be in Jersey, but I'm bummed that Full Gear isn't because Full Gear is considered one of the bigger AEW shows of the year. It's considered one of their bigger pay-per-views. So it's like you're not going to get, even if Jersey gets World's End, you're not going to get the same kind of hype around it that Full Gear had. So, like, because everybody I know that's a wrestling fan in New Jersey, we said it for months. Like we even said after last year's show, they were like, "Oh, when are we buying tickets for Full Gear next year? Like we're gonna buy them like 6 months, 8 months out. Like whenever they go on sale, we're gonna buy them because like we want to go back." And New Jersey is a hot spot for pro wrestling. Like Phoenix, Arizona, what the hell is in? There's nothing over there for pro wrestling. New Jersey.
Oh my God, that reminds me. I'm sorry, Brandon. Are you gonna watch Saturday night's main event? Because it's at MSG. They're like, and WWE's promoting the literal crap out of it for some reason because it's at Emma.
I probably will just because it's MSG. Even if I don't, I'll watch all the highlights and whatnot. But like, I mean that's just the problem too. I have with WWE is like I just don't find their shows entertaining. Like to me, it's like I'm always trying to like right now, Dynamite is going on because it's Wednesday. So like right after this show, after we get off, I'm gonna go watch the replay of Dynamite to see what I missed tonight. So I'm just somebody, and I said this before on this show, but for those who don't know, like if you grew up in the era that like a lot of my me and my friends and I grew up in, which was the ruthless aggression era, and also the early PG era, so the early 2010s also. If you grew up in that era, then AEW is for you. Then it's like, or it's a hell.
So many people are migrating to AEW because they actually give a crap about the product. We've been talking about
exactly like the second AEW debuted, and because we had seen promos for it for weeks before it actually debuted on TV. Because AEW was before it debuted on TV. AEW was a thing for about I think 6 to 8 months already, and the shows, so they were showing like clips from the shows, getting people hyped. It was finally going to be broadcast on TV back during I think it was COVID 2020 or 2019, something like that.
Yeah,
and. I kept saying to my friends, I'm like, yo, do you guys see like the promos for, AEW? Like, a lot of us hadn't watched or hadn't really kept up with wrestling the same way we did when we were preteens. So like a lot of us like me had been out of watching wrestling for 5, 6-ish years, maybe more. And we were like, oh my God, like, this is bad. Wrestling is back on TBS for the first time since WCW closed their doors in 2001. Now, I was a 1-year-old, so obviously I'm not going to remember that. But I think that they just know what to do with their wrestlers. I think and it shows in the product. And I think when I saw like the vignettes and the promos and all the kind of commercials for AEW, being like, oh yeah, AEW is going to debut on TV on this date. All my friends and I, we tuned into that first. Go ahead, Scoop.
Okay.
when they debuted that on TV for the first time, I forget if it was 2019 or 2020. We were all like, "Oh my god!" I think it was 2019 because it was still in front of crowds right before COVID hit, and we all just lost our mind. We're like, "This is phenomenal. This is way different than anything WWE is doing at that time, and it's still different now." So I'm like, it's and the thing is, the AEW was in a bad spot, back in 23, 24, right when they started to kind of decline in viewership, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, they're going to start dying off now," and all of a sudden, the last year and a half, it's shot right back up. Where it's like,
and people again are so mad at WWE's product that they're just like, well, whatever.
it's just that's what's tough is like, see, Patrick, if you want to watch Jericho, watch AEW because that's where he is. So like some of the guys that you'll love, like Patrick, like they show up in AEW a lot. So you've got sorry, not it's fine. But so Jericho's in AEW. I mean, a few guys. I mean, there's been guys that have come in and out of there like over the last 7 years. So like you had like the roster at one point had Cody Rhodes, when he was, especially when he was really good. I don't think he's that good now, but he was really good coming. He was the one that started AEW. The Young Bucks, who when they were coming up in TNA were known as Generation Me. But the Young Bucks are there still. I mean, but just Samoa Joe is there in AEW still. The one guy I wish would have came to AEW because I think he would have been great there, even though he never did and just up and retired with AJ Styles. I wish he would have went to AEW at some point.
I'm hoping Sheamus comes through there now.
I would love it. I think oh my god, the response he would get would be insane. Right now, Edge and Christian actually have the tag titles in AEW. So that's for longtime WWE fans that you'll love seeing that. So there's guys there that are still, I think Patrick, I think that's the tough thing is that creative doesn't give these guys much in WWE. So
yeah,
I
don't think, and we talked about this last month. I don't think Triple H knows and his creative team knows what they're doing, and I just think it's Triple H's fault ultimately. Because they're like, let's repeat this storyline. It's so low effort.
I mean, you also the thing is too. You also it's like he's also most of the guys that he has working alongside him are his former buddies. Like Shawn Michaels is I think head of creative. I think now or creative director or something like that. So it's like
Shawn Michaels. I think is still the lead for oh my god, for NXT.
Yeah,
which I don't touch NXT. I could care less about NXT honestly. But yeah. I think that's.
I would say
before we go,
if I could pitch, if I could pitch a wrestler to you, Patrick, and because Rob knows how much I love him right now, because I think he's the best pro wrestler in the world right now, and the storyline he's involved in right now. I'm almost convinced that it'll end with a twist, just given what we know right now. Will Ospreay is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, he's fun.
So, I think that, if you want to watch something with a good storyline, kind of building up to it, anything that Will Ospreay is doing right now is phenomenal in AEW. That's, of course, with Jon Moxley. So, I think that's great. So, yeah, that's the thing is, too. It says with no live, Patrick saying with no live shows in between big days, I think they're out of time to develop storylines. I mean, yeah, it's like
that's part of it, too. But also, it's like they're overpopulating shows. They don't need Saturday Night's Main Event.
They don't. That was never. They never needed it when they brought it back because that used to be a thing way back when that they used to do. But you don't need that was where, AEW. So Will Ospreay is in AEW now. But he's phenomenal there. Like the story he has going on with the Death Riders and Jon Moxley is great. I'm almost guaranteed that storyline will finish with Ospreay eventually, screwing the Death Riders, or they'll turn on him and he'll end up being because right now they're kind of like tweeners where they're just beating up anybody that stands in their path. So people kind of love this storyline, but I think that eventually AEW loves their long-term storytelling. So because people kind of and AEW fans don't forget this, but Moxley is the one that basically put Will Ospreay on the shelf for a while. So it would make sense for Will Ospreay to come back to then eventually join the Death Riders like he is now, win a lot with them, learn from them, kind of have John Moxley be like his mentor, and then eventually get his revenge and hopefully take a belt from them. So Patrick, they're on TBS, but like I said, if you have HBO Max, they're on HBO Max too. But they're on TBS. They come
TNT
on.
some nights too.
Yeah,
Depending
and
on
some
what's on.
Well, wait, what you said? AMC?
TNT.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's some
Okay, I was
TNT.
gonna say that's another thing too. If you want to watch another company, even though they're partnered with WWE, I still think they're doing a pretty good job right now. The old TNA. TNA's on AMC now.
On AMC, yeah.
Um,
I'm keeping tabs on it a little bit.
Yeah, so that's fun. But I think Patrick, AEW, I think to me is like, as an old school wrestling fan, like as someone who grew up in the Ruthless Aggression era and the early PG era, and like even for ones who are older fans like Attitude Era and going back to even the golden age of wrestling in the 80s and early 90s, I think people, more so people that are like me, that are like-minded like me, and who are older, are gravitating more towards like the younger demographic is watching WWE. The older, more experienced wrestling fan in that demographic is watching AEW. That's
Yeah,
basically
and
how
a
it
lot of
is.
the young audience is watching WWE because it's just, oh, here's this random celebrity. Whoa, it's like, oh god. Anyway,
Yeah, and meanwhile, AEW doesn't do that, which is smart. They don't cram celebrities down your throat. Like, oh my god, we're gonna let Jelly Roll wrestle. It's like, why?
who
Why?
cares?
You don't
Yeah.
need that.
All right, Scoop. I think that's all we have for today. So you want to lead us out?
Okay. So, with that, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of No BS with B&S. And very glad, Brandon, that you took a little time to join us from Florida tonight. And of course, Rob. Rob, if you don't mind, we didn't put up the sign. I don't think so. If you don't mind, just putting up the sign one more time.
It's been back there the whole time
Yeah.
as I've been moving
So
around.
we got Lion Coffee, of course, LionCoffeeCompany.com, and go out and get with Patrick Tan all those sweet deals on the latest from Lion Coffee and all associated products there. I'm very excited to see what they have for us in store going forward.
Yep.
With that, tomorrow night, back on What's the Scoop? I think it's episode 122, I want to say.
122, yep.
I think so, yeah.
So fired up for that. There's going to be a lot of great content. Guys, y'all mentioned it, but I feel like I just want to mention it real quick. Y'all mentioned it last week, and I didn't get a chance to. Is LeBron ever going to sign a contract?
It will be the next few days. I think from what I've heard, it's like sometime next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
pretty. He always signs quite late.
Yeah, but this feels
in
later
July.
than normal. This just feels later than normal.
Also keep in mind the reason why is because I think there were only like 2 or 3 teams involved, and originally like all 29 were involved at the beginning. So
yeah,
it's later than normal because this was a longer process than the other decisions.
Good night, Mr. Wiltsey. He just said he's good night, Mr. Wiltsey.
So it makes sense. I would expect it in like the next week or so.
All right. So then, with
later
that,
the better though. So
we'll close with this. One word: LeBron James plays the fall of 2026. It takes his talents to what city, Rob?
Don't care. Doesn't matter.
Not what I asked.
I don't care. I don't care where he goes. It doesn't matter to me where he goes. Because every city has its issues.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, this is the thing. Like, I can't. And that's the thing. Everyone wants to say Cleveland and whatever. And then here, Philly making a pretty interesting push for him this week. And it's just like, okay, but Philly, like, does that work with Jalen? I feel like no matter where he signs, there's going to be more problems. If it's not Cleveland, there's more problems that I can look at and say, oh, this is an issue. This is an issue. This is an issue. Then, oh, this is like an easy no-brainer move. And that's why I don't care. This is like the one where I'm just like, we knew he was going to LA. We knew he was going to Cleveland. Miami was a shock, but it made sense at the time. No matter where he goes, I'm like, I'm going to have an issue with some aspect of it.
Yeah.
How the roster I'm going to have some problem with it.
Okay.
And so that's my thing.
Right.
And then, so that's how I feel about it. It's like,
All right. So Rob, as often when I ask these questions, says he doesn't care.
I
Brandon,
don't care.
Yeah, I just gotta assume that that's gonna be your answer when I ask these things now. Brandon, your answer.
I'm just, I was on the fence about it, but I still think it's gonna end up being Cleveland. I just, I'm not a hardcore betting man, but still, all the betting markets still have Cleveland as the favorite by a good bit. So I still, usually those things tend to be right. So I don't want to go against that. And the thing is, I've said Cleveland all along. He's going somewhere where he can end his career. It wouldn't seem right to end it anywhere else but Cleveland. So, I know that it's hard with the whole contract situation, what they have to dump and what they're going to do, and their stupid obsession with James Harden. But to me, I just think Cleveland's home. It will always be home for LeBron, and I think that's where it just has to end there.
Yeah.
So
I say Cleveland too.
Yeah.
And with that, all right, for Scoop, Brandon, Rob, we'll see you tomorrow. What's the Scoop? Episode 122. Same Scoop time, same Scoop channel. Scoop, Brandon, Rob, out. Good night, y'all.